Hi, my friends. Tonight I just want to tell you about what happened recently that made it so that after 5 full years, 5 years, I had my 5 year anniversary of no contact with my mother, why I spoke to her one conversation, and now I'm starting over my no contact counter, I guess, if you want to say it. So, not to go into really like the long-winded story of why I went no contact with my mom, um, but it was 5 years ago, and then it took a really long time to actually have her go away. It took about a year, and of turning her away, of not answering the door, of her coming by, her kicking and literally slamming on the door and looking through my windows, or just walking into my house if the door was unlocked. We changed all those habits. She had a house key, so we changed the locks, which she was not happy over. But before that, she would use her key, or if the door was unlocked, she would just come in. So I stopped talking to her, but she kept insisting, and sending my dad over and my brother over, and yeah, it just didn't go well. It took a full year. It actually took a restraining order, protective order, because she's family, and then she stopped because my husband said, we will call the sheriff's department if you come back. So why would I talk to her again after all of that? We had the restraining order that's good for 1 year, and she respected it for the year. And then, well, kind of, she would go for walks in our neighborhood, and we would see her going by. She would, it wasn't really, well, okay, so she's going for a walk, but when I would be driving, I would say, for example, I would see her walking, or my sister would see her, my husband would see her. But then when we're driving away to go to work or coming from work, her car is parked around the corner. So she wasn't really going for a walk. She had to drive over to my neighborhood and then walk my neighborhood. So it's kind of like that. So she could technically say she was out for a walk, but her car was here. So anyway, she just kept insisting, but we just ignored her. So the first year was really hard. And then we got 4 years of pretty calm. We would see her, but she didn't. She would call and leave voicemails, but then those stopped with the restraining order. So those were all in the first year. She'd leave like hate voicemail, and thrashing me, thrashing my husband, threatening, saying, I know about all these, and she'd do all these crazy accusations, and and she even got to the point where she was saying she would switch from being angry at me to calling and leaving this message. Vanessa, I know you're being abused. Vanessa, I know, uh, I know he's keeping you from us, things like that. So we just ignored him. And I didn't know about no contact, but I didn't call back. I just didn't acknowledge it. I said, I'm not playing this. Later on, I found out she was a narcissist. Later on, I found out about no contact. Later on, I found out about gray rock method, which I think is awesome. So that's what worked for me, and that's what I kind of accidentally fell into. And then after even doing that, you get depressed and everything, and then you find out about the narcissist whole theme and all the videos and all the testimonies, and then the depression and the anger and the craziness lifted from me, thank God, because then I could kind of see that it's the same playbook. All the narcissists do the same boring thing over and over again. But when you don't know the playbook, it's not boring, and it's definitely not obvious. So anyway, it took a really long time to get her to accept no contact, and so why would I talk to her again? The reason was I did it for my husband. My mom kept coming by the house, and now she she would always come by the neighborhood around the time that kids are getting dropped off from school. So I would, get kind of anxiety thinking, somebody always has to be there right when the bus gets there, because otherwise she'll just say, those are my kids, those are my grandkids, I'm going to take them with me. And I would never put that past her. And so, yeah, like if my kids ever, if they ever didn't come home from the bus, or if the bus got there early, the first place I would, have the sheriff's look is my parents' house. So, it's not a good situation. And the reason that I basically called her was because my husband was very stressed out because she kept coming to the house and she was at our door. And, he's like, let's see what she wants. Let's see what she wants. And I'm like, what do you mean, what does she want? She wants the kids. She wants what she always wants. She wants a drama fix. She wants to get into our life so she can destroy it. Like, nothing has changed. But he's like, maybe if you listen to her, she'll go away. And I said, no, if I listen to her, I'm going to open up the door and then she's going to want more. And it's like if you give a mouse a cookie book, like if you give them a cookie, they want milk. If you give them milk, they want this. If they want that. It's like you get the foot in the door. Like, I'm not opening the door to that. But my husband was so stressed out because it was such a horrible thing. It was a huge strain on our marriage. And had we not been 100% together on how to handle it, it could have easily destroyed my marriage. And so I was watching my husband, and I said, honey, nothing has changed. She hasn't changed. What do you think she wants? And he says, I don't know what she wants. Maybe something's wrong and she needs to talk to you about something. And I said, there's nothing that she needs to talk to me about. Like, when we first went no contact, she went as far as to pretend she had cancer. And she wasn't sick. She didn't have cancer. And, when that happened, obviously I don't want anybody sick. And the reason I knew about it was because she was trying to tell me I wasn't taking her calls. She told my sister, and my sister had been 4 years no contact at that time. This was 4 years ago. So 8 years ago she went no contact. She was full no contact for 4 years. Then my mom said, hey, I'm sick. And she started telling my sister. So then my sister called me crying. She was devastated. Mom has cancer. It's terrible, terrible. And I said, I was kind of thinking, like, does she really believe that? Like, and so then my sister kind of got mad at me. And she switched from going no contact with my mom to taking her calls and letting her see the kids and things like that. But then there were no doctor's appointments. And there were no anything. And my sister was kind of mad at me when she initially told me, because I said, I kind of treated it the same as how I would treat it if I found out my neighbor was sick. It's like, it's unfortunate. I don't want him to be sick or her to be sick. I'm really sorry, but I wasn't like emotionally invested in it. And that might sound really harsh and cruel, but honestly, I didn't believe it. I thought it was pretty convenient that she would be sick now. And I didn't put it past her to lie about something that horrible. But then I said, you know what, even if she is sick, that's very unfortunate, but that has nothing to do with me. Like, I hope everything works out for her, but that's not going to be a reason why I let a poisonous person around my children. That's not going to be a reason why I invite stuff back. The only thing I was saying was like, oh my God, I hope she's not lying about, like, I feel like she's lying. God help me. Like, I feel like she's lying. But if I'm wrong and she really is sick, like, I hope she gets whatever help she needs. And that's it. And my sister was mad at me. But then there were no doctor's appointments, and there were no stages, and there were no specifics, and there was nothing. So once my sister broke her own no contact rule and started talking to my mom again, she got so scared and so upset that my mom could be possibly sick that she broke the rule. And when she broke the rule, she got sucked right back in. And then she started taking, and then at first she's like, no, I'm not going to let her see the kids. I'm not going to let her see the kids. I'm like, she wants your kids. And she wants to do to your kids what she did to us. So just remember that. And then I said, and protect your marriage, because, she loves to destroy marriages. And my sister's like, no, 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 no. Like, I want to be there for my mom. It's like, that's your mom, Vanessa. Like, she was mad. She was mad. She was kind of irked. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, what not to do. I think it's a bad idea. I'm not going to judge you. I mean, I can understand why you would talk to her if you think that's true. And she's like, what do you mean if I think that's true? And I said, well, I mean, it's possible that she's lying. It's possible that she's manipulating you. So anyway, it turns out that's what it was, and she was miraculously not sick once she got what she wanted. And then my sister was kind of like, oh, I honestly don't even know how my sister sort of didn't get upset about that. But we just didn't discuss it anymore. She can do whatever she wants with my mom. But anyway, so I had gone 5 full years. So the first year of not taking her calls and getting all the hateful voicemails and getting her screaming and looking through my windows or walking through my house that first year, she did respect the restraining order though. And then she was just kind of skirting, past the issue by driving over to my neighborhood and walking the neighborhood. She wasn't interacting with us, and that was good enough for me. Like, I didn't, my preference would be for her to completely go away, but she wasn't interacting. She was interacting with my girls, but thankfully, I didn't tell my older girls the specifics, but I did say, I need you to trust me, and when you're older and you want more specifics, then I can tell you, but this is not good. It's I just said toxic, and I had to say, your grandma lies a lot, and she does a lot of damage, and so you need to trust me that I'm looking out for you, and I want you to be nice and calm. And so those are the conversations I had with my daughters, and thankfully my daughters respected that. My mother did not. So she would try, but they listened to me. And then that's it. Like, we just didn't have anything to do with her for 5 years. And then just recently, she just kept coming over and coming over and coming over. And then she had been texting me, but I didn't answer. And so my husband looked so anxious, and I said, well, I know what she wants. Like, she's bored and she wants the kids, and I'm not going to let her spend time with my children. I'm not going to let her do the damage that she did to me and my brothers. And he's like, but you should at least hear her out. Maybe if she feels heard, she'll go away. And I said, no, no. But then he looked so mortified. He looked so nervous. He looked so ready for a fight. So then I said, okay, you know what? And then I told him, I was like, it's not going to be good enough for me to call her and see. She's going to want to see me in person, and I want to see her. And I just don't want to open the door for all of that. The narcissists are really good at manipulating, and if they can do it in person, because they're actors, they, get an actor on the phone. You have to be a really good actor on the phone, because you have to convey those fake emotions and all this kind of stuff. With visual, I think it's easier. But, and it's also, they can read you and feed off of that. If they don't see you, they can't really feed off of you. So, unless you're speaking, So, anyway, I told my husband, I was like, you know what, if you really want to do this, then I will give my mother a call. And let's see what she wants. I'll call her, but I'm calling her for you because I already know what she wants. And he said, okay. And then I called my dad, and I just said, hey, Dad, Mom's been coming by the house, and I just called to say, to see if she would like to ask me something. Does she need something? Because I don't really feel like there's anything to talk about, but I don't want her to waste her time coming over to the house anymore. And if there's an issue that needs to be addressed, like, I'm willing to listen. And so he said, sure, And so she got on the phone, and my mother is a very loud person. She's very small, but she knows what she wants. She's used to telling people what to do. She's used to having a big, demanding voice, like, this is what we're doing. So right off the bat, she was very soft-spoken, which my mother is not. And she's like, oh, I was just calling because I was having all these horrible dreams about you. And you were crying in your dream. And you were writhing in pain. And I just, you know, I, I felt like you needed me. So I just wanted to call and check on you. My mother is a religious narcissist. So she has twisted everything that, the true sense of, being a follower of Christ. Um, Anything that's convenient for her to make you, allow her to control you, she'll grab onto that part of scripture. But all the other parts where, you're supposed to be humble, you're not supposed to be arrogant, you're supposed to be, um, aiming to help others and to give freely and to be of service. She ignores all of that part because she will not be in service to anyone. She's going to do whatever she wants. So anyway, it's this very convenient form of cherry picking what you want, and it's just a way to control people and completely missing the point of the scripture, the Holy Scriptures. So anyway, she was very soft-spoken, and she was calling supposedly for me, and she was very concerned about me. And so she had this thing, and she was saying very specifically, like, you were in so much pain. You were in so much pain, and you were crying, and you were writhing in pain. And so and then she didn't say anything. And then I was quiet, and I let her finish, and she didn't get a response from me. And so then when she was done, I said, thank you for being concerned, but you don't need to be. I'm fine. My kids are fine. And honestly, I would tell you, I've had some major health issues this last year. So really struggled with my health. But I'm not going to talk to my mom about that because I don't feel like she cares, first of all. My mom, I remember she would get mad at people, and then she'd be like, somebody would not do something that she wanted, and then she would say, oh my goodness, I hope that God doesn't punish that person. Usually my adopted sister, she'd be so mad at her, and she's like, I hope God doesn't punish her for being so mean to me, because maybe if her son gets sick, then she'll understand what it's like to be in emotional pain. Or she would just say these things. But so she would be saying, I hope that da 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 doesn't happen to you. But the way she's saying it, and she's angry at the person, she's trying to use God as like this pit bull to like attack people that are supposedly hurting her. And really it is that you're not giving her what she wants, when she wants it, the way she wants it done. And so when she mentioned my health, honestly, I kind of got a little, I don't know, I got a little creeped out, because anyway, I didn't go into the specifics. I just thanked her for her concern, did not go into any specifics, because that's not anything that she can help me with. That's not anything she wants to help me with. And could be just coincidence. I don't really know what it was, but I know that if I was in physical pain and she knew it, that would be something she would be happy about, not concerned about. So it's just an excuse to call. So anyway, her voice was very quiet. She was like, oh, I just was so concerned, and I just so worried about you. And I said, thank you. You don't have to be worried. Everything's good. My husband and I are great. And then she didn't like that. I said, I'm doing great. Thank you. My kids are fine. Thank you. So you don't have to worry about that. And she's like, oh, okay, well, good. And then, so then, of course, and then I said, okay, well, is there anything else? And then she said, yes, I miss you. I miss you. I really miss you. And then she started crying. And she started crying. And then which my mom cries. I've only seen my mom cry when she's like angry crying, like frustration crying. So she's very strong, very, very strong woman. She doesn't cry. She gets what she wants, and she moves people to get what she wants. So she started crying, and I let her cry, and and it was just very brief. And then she was waiting for a reaction, and I didn't give her one because I was very, very, had in my head, like, I'm not going to do anything to feed this. So I'm going to let her speak her whatever she needs to say, but I'm not going to have this be like a ping pong thing back and forth. And so then she was crying, and then she's like, I just miss you so much. And, I know that I messed up, and I just care so much. And I know the way that I say things sometimes, I shouldn't say that, but it's just that I care. And, you're the one who always invited me over. And she was saying, and I gave my whole life to you guys. And, I don't think it's fair. So what ended up happening was that she would say something and then do something that was supposed to make me feel guilty, and then make me say, oh, Mom, I miss you too. But then the I miss you too didn't happen. And then she'd say, I want to see you. And then I didn't, I really didn't say anything. I just said, it's not a good idea. Everything that she said that she wanted to do, I just said, it's not a good idea. And then she got angry. And then she's like, I don't think this is fair. I don't think this is fair that you withhold from me. And I said, well, I'm sorry you feel like that. So what really got her, it was really only a couple different things that I would say to her. I'd say, I'm sorry you feel that way. And then she would say something, and she really, really wanted to go into the past. And she'd say, something about the past. And then I'd say, you know what? We didn't agree on that 5 years ago. I don't think it happened the way that you're saying it, but we didn't agree 5 years ago, and so we're not going to agree today on what happened. And then she got really mad. And then she said, well, I don't think it's fair. You're accusing me of things I didn't do. At least tell me what I did. And I said, well, we already had the conversation about what you did, and I don't think you see what you did. I don't think that you're sorry for what happened. And so I don't need you to be sorry. I don't need you to be sorry. I'm just, it's unfortunate. That's what I said. It's unfortunate. And she's like, well, you need to tell me what I did. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go into the past. And she said, well, that's not fair. And then her tone changed. And then she wasn't all meek anymore. And she wasn't crying anymore. And then she's like, well, I'm fine not to see you, but I want to see the kids. And I said, I understand that. But that's not going to happen. And then she's like, they're my grandkids, and I want to see them. I said, I understand that, and I wish that you could, but it's not a good idea. And she's like, just because you're mad at me, the kids should have a grandmother. And I said, yeah, I mean, if it's a positive thing, I agree with you. It'd be nice to have it. And if she's like, yeah, because the problems that we have are adult problems. And I said, yes, I agree with all of that. And we addressed this 5 years ago, because 5 years ago, when I went initially no contact with her, I did allow her to see the children, but then they came home crying and upset, and she was poisoning them from the very beginning. And I wouldn't have known about the little kids, but my daughter was old enough that she told me what happened. And then I did not let her. It was one time I let her go see the kids, let the kids go to her house, and then that was it. And so she said, she brought up that whole thing, which made sense. And I said, yes, you're right. That does sound great, but not if it's a toxic thing, and not if it's not good for them. And she's like, well, how's it not going to be good for them? I have never spoken bad about you. And I said, well, that's not true. Yes, what did I say? And she kept wanting to go into, and she just wanted so desperately to fight. And I refused to fight with her. And I just said, listen, my children don't lie. And my daughter was fine with me, and then she went to go visit you, and then she came back with daggers towards me and spitting out venom that you were whispering into her ear just in a couple of hours. And so what you're saying makes sense. Yes, it would be wonderful for a grandmother to spend time with her grandchildren, but not if you're going to poison the relationship of the child with their parent, or the child, and we tried that and it didn't work. She's like, I want to try again. And I said, I'm sorry, we're not going to. And she just got angrier and angrier. And then the whole facade of the quiet demeanor just kind of vanished. And what I remembered was exactly what was coming out again. So she had not changed. And so I was very respectful. I told her, I don't talk bad about you to the kids. You don't go into specifics with them. I hope that you won't insist, because then I will have to go into specifics with them. But if you just leave it alone, then we just respect the fact that, this is the decision that I made. And I have my reasons for it. We've tried all the things that you say you want to do, and she's like, but I promise I won't. I said, well, you promised before and you broke that before. So, I just kept saying the same thing over and over again. That sounds nice, but it didn't work last time. That sounds nice, but you promised before and you broke that promise. And no matter how she phrased it or how she started crying and just said, I can't give you what you want. I understand why you would want that, but I can't give you what you want. And for some reason, that phrase really upset her. And I wasn't trying to upset her, but I was trying to not get sucked into the argument. And that's what I did. And so then finally, after about 45 minutes of her insisting, and then she would say, I guess I'm this horrible person. I guess I'm this horrible person. So I don't think you're a horrible person, but I just, no. She'd say, you just hate me. And I was like, no, I don't hate you. But we're not gonna go back to what, how it used to be. And then, she kept insisting, and it took 45 minutes. But then finally, she's like, well, then there's nothing left for us to talk about. And so she was acting like she was so desperate to talk to me. But then when she really did think that she hit a brick wall and was not going to get what she wanted, all of a sudden she was not interested at all in speaking to me. So, my friends, I tell you this story right now. I'm going to start the clock over again with the 5 years, and it's lighthearted about it. It doesn't really count. I'm not getting sucked into that stuff, but it was important to my husband to sort of set his mind at ease. My mother said when she hung up that she's like, well, then you'll never see me again. And I said, I didn't say anything. And I said, okay, bye. And she's like, you just hate me. You hate me. You da-da-da. I don't hate you. I don't think about what happened. I don't think about the past. It's just, we're just not in each other's lives anymore. I don't think bad of you. I don't want bad things for you. I don't talk bad about you. But we're not going to go back to what things were, because, it was not the good thing that you were describing. And then, yeah. So a couple, maybe 5 different phrases that I stuck to. I understand what you're saying, but I can't help you with that. I understand why you want that, but we're not going to do that. Sounds like a good idea, but we tried it before and it didn't work. When she promises stuff, we promised and you broke those promises. So anyway, she was pretty mad, and the old fangs came out, and I felt very, very happy that it had been 5 years, and I am very happy with my decision. So sharing that story with you so that you can kind of learn from my experience and prepare yourself if you ever do need to break, pause, no contact. Hope you have a good night, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and find joy in the little things.